topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Atlanta. Welcome to another Ask the Experts. Today's show is brought to you by Attorney Henningsen. They're Henningsen Injury Attorneys. If you get injured, contact Attorney Henningsen at 404-835-4935. And we just happen to have him as our first expert today on the show. But his firm is sponsoring now all the Ask the Experts show. Now, I want to tell, because we try to target Atlanta, but God, we got calls last week and several weeks ago from, not only just people in Georgia, but in the surrounding Florida. Also, we got from South Carolina, North Carolina. You may call are experts, but they don't normally cover the whole United States. So today's show, and we have other markets that you can listen to, but I wanted to clear that up because I got 2 calls from Charlotte, North Carolina, wanting to know how to reach the expert. But anyway, let's get to today's show. Let me introduce you to, I am so excited about this first show today. And I'm excited because we get so many letters and texts from you, the listener, saying, why don't you offer accidents like auto accidents and slip and falls? Well, we did. We actually started a couple weeks ago, and Attorney Henningsen will be with us every month, actually twice a month, for the rest of the year. So let me get to Attorney Todd Henningsen. How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You know what, Todd? I just got to say this. Not only did we get a fine personal injury attorney, but you see all kinds of ads out there. And we were so lucky to get one of Atlanta's, probably one, he can't say this, but I can, top personal injury attorneys. We are so glad. We are so blessed to have you, Todd.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And hopefully we can get some information, some good information to those viewers and listeners out there so that they can understand what's going on.
Tell us about your firm.
Sure. So we are a personal injury firm. I'm licensed actually in Virginia, and you made a reference to that earlier, but Georgia and Virginia. I started off in Virginia, have maintained my license. And, attorneys tend not to practice in states where they are not licensed. But if I have people that call me from Florida and South Carolina and North Carolina, and I have a network of attorneys that we can work with to make sure that you're in good hands, good shape. But primarily my work is in Georgia. I've got an office in McDonough. So I call that the South Side location, and then an office here in Atlanta. And we work on all types of personal injury claims. Been doing it for, I guess, 22 years I've been practicing. But it's, I've had my firm for about 11 years. And I kind of took the best practices from what I learned from other attorneys, mentors, and brought those into my practice and how we work.
Todd, must be something about Virginia. We have a personal injury attorney for our Dallas market who's got offices in Dallas and Virginia. How strange is that?
That is a bit
His
strange.
name Yeah, Mark Underwood. I don't know if you know him, but he also practices Virginia. So let's get to what. Just tell people what personal injury is in general, because if you've never had to sue anybody, you might have no idea about personal injury.
Many times, people are calling us for the first time. They're just trying to get information, right? And so the initial consultation is obviously free. We work on a contingency fee basis, meaning that there is no fee unless we make a successful recovery for you. So there's no risk involved in asking somebody, or asking us, really, calling us to find out if you have a personal injury claim. And personal injury is pretty simple. You have to have an injury, right? You have to have some type of injury, typically physical injury. There can be mental injury and things like that, but typically a physical injury. You want to seek medical treatment. And then you have to have some type of culpability or fault on the party that injured you, right? Typical case is a car accident. That's what most people can think of. And what we're most times talking about is negligence. And what I mean by that is you have a duty to drive your car and obey the laws. If you violate that duty and you injure somebody else, now you have a personal injury claim. That it's that straightforward. But people get confused about it. Personal injury isn't, I think I'm hurt. I'm not going to see a doctor, things of that nature. You've got to go get medical treatment. You've got to get documented. You have to get the treatment that you need if you're hurt. I mean, and that's what I seek to do is represent people who have been injured through no fault of their own, or primarily no fault of their own.
Tom, what do you do if you're in an auto accident with someone who doesn't have insurance?
Wow. It happens far too often.
Yes,
it really does. So if they do not have insurance, you can use your uninsured motorist or underinsured motorist. They're used somewhat interchangeably. The best thing you can do right now to protect yourself in the event of an auto accident is to call your broker or look at your insurance policy. Call us. Heck, I don't care. I'll tell you what to do. But it is get uninsured motorist coverage, because otherwise you'll be left with nothing. I've seen cases where people have been catastrophically injured. It's been a stolen car or a hit and run or whatever situation you can imagine, and they don't have uninsured motorist coverage. And if you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, there's nothing to go after. There's zero. You do not have a claim. Insurance is the key to everything that we do. So, as much as I fight against insurance companies, they're a necessary evil. We have to have them because that's what protects you. For example, I have a very large uninsured motorist policy. When I first married my wife 15 years ago, I looked at her policy and I was shocked at how small it was. I was like, no, you cannot have this small of a policy. She just didn't understand. And I wouldn't have ever understood if I wasn't in this field. So look at your uninsured motorist coverage and make sure you have it. And it's not that expensive to have. It really isn't relative to liability.
Todd, God, it must be difficult to determine what a case is valued.
It is. So anybody that tells you, on the first phone call, I know what your case is worth, it's this much money, is probably selling you sunshine, rainbows, unicorns. It's not true. I mean, I can get a sense of it. I mean, if you're in a catastrophic case and it's against some major commercial entity, right? Some corporation, then yes, I can say this is a significant case. But many times people come to me, I don't know what the value of your case is dependent upon what we were just talking about, which is insurance. If they don't have enough insurance, they're not going to have the money to pay above the insurance proceeds. So maybe let me take a step back and explain this. If I go get a verdict against somebody and I get $1 million verdict, but they only have $100,000 in auto insurance, where is the other 900,000 going to come from? And it's not coming from the insurance company. Typically, it's coming from that individual. Well, what can they do? They declare bankruptcy. There's nothing. You're not going to get any more money than that. So 99 out of 100 times, we're looking at the policy of insurance and how much insurance is available. So valuing the case is very difficult in that first phone call. Many times what I say is we need to understand what your injuries are and how much insurance coverage there is. Because if there's not enough insurance coverage, you could have the worst injuries in the world and you're still going to be limited. And that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate in how we practice.
Todd, I want to share with people that, whoever runs the most commercials does not make them the best.
No,
it's really, you know what? I mean, they could be on every bus in town, but it doesn't make them the best. And I learned this, it's going to kind of date me, but it used to be an attorney would advertise in the yellow pages. And I mean, this really dates me, but people would think, oh, they have a full page ad, they must be good. This is what's so important about a show like this. What we're doing, Todd, is educating you in areas that you probably aren't educated in. We chose him because we feel like he's the top personal injury attorney. And I want people to understand this. And I guess the other thing, Todd, that you can really talk about is patience is very important.
Well, so, it's very difficult. I'm going to hit on 2 points. One is we are limited in terms of how we advertise as lawyers, right? And there are restrictions placed by the bar, which is the state organization, which is fine. But you can't say you're the best. And I'm not trying to say I'm the best lawyer.
That's me.
There are plenty of
saying you are.
That's up to you. There are plenty of good lawyers out there, but there's also plenty of lawyers that really don't understand. And if you're not specializing in personal injury and that's not your focus, I wouldn't go to a general surgeon for heart surgery, right? You want a heart surgeon. So you want somebody who's focused on personal injury and somebody that you trust. And the way in which I quote unquote market, or however you want to talk about it, advertise, is information based. I want to give you the information that you need to make the right decision. And that's what we focus on. So, in that regard, that's who we are. I mean, you're looking at me. It is what you get in terms of that. Just, yeah. And, the good, the bad, the ugly, we have to be honest. So we're counselors at law, and we're also advocates. And sometimes I have to talk to my clients as a counselor. This is what's going on. It's an emotional event. They've been through so much. And other times I'm talking to the other side as an advocate. I mean, I was just at what we would call a site investigation for a slip and fall yesterday in West Georgia, about an hour away. And I've got my advocate hat on at that point. I'm looking at what's going on, looking at all the issues that we may have and all the issues that are positive. And I came away feeling very good. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's ongoing, but yes. So, the most important thing I think is just pick up the phone, give us a call, email me, whatever it is. If you have questions, we're here to answer them, and we're here to answer them truthfully.
Todd, do you get into, I know a lot of patients end up going to a chiropractor, but if you've never been to a chiropractor, you don't know who's good and who's not. Do you recommend several chiropractors to your clients?
I have a group of various chiropractors, depending on geographic location, that I would recommend. There are certain doctors that I would not recommend. So here's what happens. If you have health insurance, you want to make sure that you're using your health insurance in the claim. There are specific reasons for that. There are some attorneys who steer you away from that because they have relationships with doctors or chiropractors or whoever. I don't want that. The benefit to you is to use your health insurance if you have it. Now, if you don't have health insurance, then there are resources that we can tap into to make sure that you're getting the medical treatment that you need. And that's important because you want to get the treatment. We want you to get better. Like the focus of every case is for you to get back to your baseline levels as if the wreck never happened. We want you to get the treatment. We want you to call us up and say, hey, finish with treatment. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to move on with my life. If that's the case, we're ready to move on with your claim and your case and move forward. So that's the goal. Sometimes that's just not possible. Some people are injured permanently. So then we have to make decisions as to how best to present that to the adjuster or the jury or whatever we need to do. How do we do that? How do we show that? And, we work every case as if we're going to trial. Some firms don't. They're like, oh, we'll just settle this case. No, start off as if you're doing a trial. What do you have to build it up to? Because if you don't do that, you're going to get caught with your pants down. You really are. And the attorneys that get caught with their pants down, they have done a disservice to their clients because they haven't prepped it as if they have to go to trial. So prep it from backwards to forwards, understand what are the hurdles that you're going to have to overcome. And then you're able to really resolve the case at that point because now they know you're ready for trial.
We just got a text in. They want to know, do you handle all of Georgia or just the Atlanta area?
All of Georgia. All of Georgia. I have an investigator who will come to see you anywhere in the state of Georgia. Or you can come into my office or I'll come see you. It doesn't matter. All throughout the state of Georgia, I was, just like I said, an hour west at a site inspection. I've handled cases in Savannah, Columbus, Blue Ridge. I mean, you name it, all around.
Well, Todd, it is so important that people understand that when they come to you, they don't have to write a check. You basically represent them on performance.
Yes.
That's basically what it boils down to. So you have skin in the game. But it's really important that you get someone that you feel comfortable with. Somebody that, I went all the way back. Todd used to be on my radio show. I went all the way back years ago because I remember Todd. And it's just, when you have something, because people, Todd, sometimes people they think they're saving money to handle their own case. And that just isn't true. These insurance companies are not your friends.
So they're called adjusters for a reason. And I say this all the time. They're not adjusting your claim upwards. They're not trying to pay you more money. They're trying to pay you less money. All right. It's called adjusting down. And so, they're not trying to take the stereo to 11. They're trying to take it to 1. And so, if you will sign for $1, if you'll sign a final settlement statement or a final release for $1, that's what they're going to pay you. And it's only, I call the insurance companies like an octopus. You've got to get all 8 of those legs in. If there's one dangling out, they are not going to pay you. They will not pay you. It is not until that they know that it is imminent that they are at risk. And that's my job. My job is to get all those tentacles, all those legs in and get them trapped, not in a bad way, not unethically, but get them to a position where they understand their risk and they're now willing to pay. And we have to do that. That's how my firm works, is we make sure that we are focusing on you, because we understand that adjusters have 200, 300 files on their desk. We got to make yours stand out. That's the goal. We have to keep it personalized and custom. And if you're in an auto wreck, please, one thing I got to say before we wrap up, please get a dash camera. Please get a dash camera. I am begging you to get a dash camera. I have one. My wife has one. My entire staff has one. I'm looking at a way to which we can get more of these, because I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call from somebody who says they ran the red light, and I had the green, and it's a swearing contest, right? I swear that my light was green. I swear my light was green. There's no witnesses. I can't prove it. There's nothing I can do. Now, if you've got a camera, I've gone back. I just got video footage from a gas station because of a situation like this. And I was able to show that our light was green for us. But that's a ton of investigative work, and you've got to go do it. But we will do that. But I encourage people to get a dash cam, save it, have it. It's not that expensive, and it will protect you in the long run. I don't know what it costs, $100, $140. It can save you tens of thousands.
Well, I've got a setup question for you, Todd. What other areas of law do you practice? What I'm getting ready to do.
I feel it. So we're generally all personal injury. We do products liability. We do medical malpractice. We do
wrongful death.
Wrongful death. That's yes. Many wrongful death cases, which are highly complicated, but we're very good at those. It's been a focus for us. Let me think. I mean, I've got to
bring this up, Todd, because let me tell you something. This is all you do. So there's attorneys out there, and I'm not putting them down, but you look at their shingle, it says bankruptcy, criminal law, estate planning. This is very specialized area, and there's a lot of areas within injuries. So I love the fact that this is where your practice concentrates on.
Well, you have to stay up to date on it. You have to be educated on it. It's hard to be a generalist, I believe, in this modern day. The day of, I'm just going to go see my lawyer and he'll handle the divorce, the custody, the will, the estate, the personal injury, all of that. That's very hard. I'm solely focused on personal injury, have been for 22 years. My firm has been around for now 11 years. And that's our sole focus. And so we keep up to date, stay educated, make sure that we know what the new laws and the changes and really the climate. There are certain things that people don't understand about how insurance companies work and how the legal system works. And I don't want to get too into the details, but the insurance company has to put money in reserves, right? So they have to reserve that money when they know that a claim is coming. So what happens at the end of the fiscal year many times is they may have reserved $20,000. They may have offered you $10,000, but they want to capture that money back because that reserve goes against their balance sheet. So they'll say, it's Christmas time. Now I'll offer you $15,000 and I can capture back $5,000 of that money. And that becomes a profit for them because they had to reserve 20. But all along they were sitting on 10. Right. And people don't understand that. So we are very making a point to communicate with the insurance companies to get their reserves right. Because that's the big thing that happens with an adjuster or an insurance company. They get in trouble if they're not reserving the right amount of money. All of a sudden they think a claim is worth $25,000 and it's really worth $100,000. They go, well, how did you not see this coming? So that's job protection, right? Their own self-interest on it. So, there's little nuances about how we work that people don't understand. And that's why you call us. I mean, that's it.
Well, today's show is brought to you by Todd's law firm. If you're watching the show on TV, we've been running his phone number. But if you're listening on radio, Todd, give everybody your phone number.
It's 404-835-4935. Please give us a call. We're happy to help.
Yes.
We're answering the phones 24/7. We're making sure that we're there. Sometimes if I'm not available, just schedule a time to talk to me. It's that simple. My staff knows, just schedule that time. And you can talk to me and we'll go through whatever.
And Todd will be with us twice next month So be sure to tune in. Thank you, Todd. We have our next expert coming in. And again, the show is brought to you by attorney Todd Hensington. And we are just so blessed to have him. And we're going to be going over a lot of different areas of injury law over the coming months. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, have them email me or contact me.
We will. Okay. So that was Todd. And he, like I said, he is an incredible personal injury attorney. I'm so glad that we have him. We're going to our next expert who's been with us for a long time. I'm sure he's got to be there. Let's see if he pops up on our screen. Yes. There. Hello, Smiley.
Hey, how you doing?
Listen, I'm doing fine. This is Dr. Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And has won me over. He's been with us for over a year. I have never had so much respect for a doctor as I have you. And your story is incredible. But most of all, you know, you're an MD, but you also believe in holistic medicine. And I just want to tell people, Dr. Taylor started off as an OBGYN doctor and had a great practice going. And he discovered about weight loss, medical weight loss, hormones, and he has built this incredible practice. What you're going to learn today with Dr. Taylor are things you've probably never heard of, and this is going to help to make you successful. Dr. Taylor, good morning. Welcome to you. Dr. Taylor's with us twice every month, and today, you know, we usually talk about hormone replacement, but today we're going to be talking about what is gut health. Dr. Taylor, what is gut health?
Well, you know, probably the most important system in your body is your gut. You have to think, hey, you know, the only way you can replace your energy stores, your ability to make new cells, to feed your immune system, the only way you can do that is by what you put in your mouth. That is how you survive. And so your gut has three major jobs: to break down food, absorb the nutrition, and to get rid of the waste. So if you don't do any of those three things well, you're not going to have good health. We're talking about holistic health. So if your gut doesn't work correctly, or if it doesn't work at all, you are not going to live very long. So it's important to keep your gut healthy. The gut is sometimes called the second brain, because your brain and your emotions are intimately tied to your gut. You know, everybody knows, hey, when you get nervous, what happens? You feel it in your gut. People talk about, I had a gut feeling. I had a gut feeling that this was right or this was wrong. So the gut is very closely connected to the brain. And again, nothing else survives if your gut does not work properly.
Well, I got to tell you that we got so many emails from people last week wanting to know what holistic health is. I mean, a lot of people have heard holistic health, but not everybody knows what that means.
Well, you know, you can call it holistic health. You can call it functional medicine. It's looking at the entire system and not just being focused on one thing. You know, urologists are focused on the kidney. Cardiologists are focused on the heart. Gastroenterologists are focused only on the gut. And a lot of times you're not schooled or you're not involved in how what the kidney does affects the heart or the gut or whatever. So in functional medicine or in holistic medicine, we try and look at the body as a whole, how I'm an OBGYN, but how does the gut affect hormones? Well, it does. If you're constipated, if you're not having regular bowel movements, actually hormones that should be expelled through your stool actually get reabsorbed. So a non-healthy gut can cause a hormone imbalance. A non-healthy gut can cause inflammation. A non-healthy gut can cause skin issues and cause immune problems. So that's what more holistic medicine is about, is that, yeah, okay, my specialty might have been OBGYN, and we may have talked a lot about hormones, but hormones are affected by the gut. Hormones are affected by the nervous system. So that's what more holistic or functional medicine is all about.
Why do you think, and this isn't breakfast time, it's not lunchtime, so I can talk about this. Why do you think constipation is a common problem?
Well, here's the problem. A lot of people think that because something happens a lot is normal. So most people think, hey, well, if I have one bowel movement a day, that's normal. Well, in other countries that eat a lot less processed food, they're eating more, things they've grown or just more farm to table type foods. They usually have 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. And like I say, it's not breakfast time or whatever. And the weight of their stools is like 3 times what ours is. So constipation causes all kinds of problems. It causes, it makes it where the gut slows down, so that what can happen is the longer food or material stays in the gut, the more likely you are to absorb empty calories. So constipation can lead to obesity. The more your waste stays in the gut is more likely to damage the lining of the gut. So now things that should have been expelled through the stool actually gets reabsorbed. And that reabsorption causes toxicity. It causes the immune system to be overstimulated and can cause autoimmune diseases. It can cause you to have skin problems like eczema. So constipation is a real problem, and the problem is so common in the United States that we think constipation is normal. So when you ask a person,
Right.
when we ask people, are you constipated? We don't ask that. We say, how many bowel movements do you have? And I'll tell you, I know, because I only saw women for first 15 years of my practice in OBGYN. Women have a real aversion to talking about or even, having bowel movements. So I would often talk to these women, and they'd say, I have a bowel movement every other day, or I have it twice a week, which is really, really a problem. It really is.
What does that tell you, Dr. Taylor, when they tell you that?
Well, it tells me they're not eating enough fiber. And a lot of
Okay.
times women think that's not woman-like. So you can actually train your gut to slow down and not to, have regular bowel movements. And I think a lot of it is cultural. They think, women are worried about, they think things are unclean or nasty down there or whatever. And so it just seems to affect women a little bit more than men. But then that leads to other issues in women. It can lead to obesity. It can lead to hormone imbalances. So it's nothing more important than trying to maintain a healthy gut. And also it leads to all types of cancers, not just colon cancer and other GI cancers, but the fact that you're not getting rid of waste material, and that waste material can be reabsorbed, can cause all types of issues.
It's funny. We just got not so funny. We just, a listener, because she's actually listening on the radio now.
Mhm.
She said, what if I only have a bowel movement once every 2 days? Should I contact your office to make an appointment?
Well, you can, but I will tell you the first thing that you should do is try and get more fiber in your diet. You can get fiber from the peels of fruits and vegetables, eat more green leafy vegetables, There's lentils and beans that have fiber in it. And we usually, Americans have traditionally a low fiber diet. Our foods are so processed, a lot of the fiber is being taken out. And fiber kind of, it's almost like a scrub brush. It kind of like scrubs the lining of the uterus. It motivates the gut to have peristalsis. And peristalsis is like squeezing a toothpaste tube from the end to the front. That's how the gut should work. It should be constantly moving food and waste from mouth to the other end. So first, I tried. You try and put more fiber in your diet. The second thing is probiotics. Or probiotics are good bacteria. You actually have like thousands times more bacteria in your gut than you do cells in your body. So you need bacteria are good for you. Good bacteria are very good for you. They increase the peristalsis. They make sure that your food is broken down. They help to repair the gut. They help to help with hormone production. So probiotics. So those would be the two things: is increase your fiber and try to find a good probiotic. A good probiotic has at least 10 to 20 billion we call CPUs, colony producing units, and it should have at least 10 different types of bacteria in it. So that's what you should be looking for if you go to the health food store or whatever, is a good probiotic and good fiber. Now, the other thing that's very important in gut health is an amino acid called glutamine. Glutamine helps to repair the lining of the gut. When you have waste sitting in the gut, it actually damages the lining of the gut, and that makes it where it doesn't absorb nutrients well, it doesn't get rid of waste well, it gets inflamed. And so glutamine is another component to good gut function.
I know you offer supplements. Can listeners get this through your supplement store?
Yeah, we have a supplement company called Taylor MD Formulations. We formulated
Yes.
this company because we wanted to combine ingredients so patients could have the desired result without taking 10 or 20 different supplements. So for gut health, we have something called Green Med. Green Med primarily has glutamine in it, but it has a lot of alkalinizing greens that help to calm down inflammation. It has aloe vera in it. So it's very good to enhance gut health. The glutamine in it and the greens in it help to calm down inflammation, help the gut work better. We also have a probiotic called Flora Repair, and it has the criteria I'm talking about. It has 30 billion CPUs in it, and it has, I think, 12 different bacteria in it. So just those two things can greatly improve your gut health. We also have a supplement called Amino Restore that has a lot of fiber in it, has a lot of amino acids and nutrients in it, so that you can get nutrients even in an unhealthy gut because they're already broken down for you. So the Green Med and the Amino Restore are powders that you can put in your smoothie, and the probiotic is something that you take once a day with a meal, and you can see pretty rapid improvement in gut function with those.
Dr. Taylor, you practiced OBGYN,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've kind of moved away from that in a way, and you work with hormones and weight loss, ED, stress. How is your practice different now than it was when you were an OB-GYN MD?
Yeah, well, when I was an OBGYN, I did what most people are familiar with. You came in, you got your regular pap smear once a year. You did a breast exam. You felt to see if they had fibroids or anything, And then, if they had any kind of female problems, you wrote a prescription for birth control pills. If they were young, you wrote a prescription for synthetic hormone replacement. If they were older, if they, had an issue that they needed a hysterectomy, I did a hysterectomy. And, that was my life. And I delivered babies. I delivered babies. That was the other side of my,
Lots
was
of
it.
babies.
Yeah, I delivered lots of babies. But to be honest with you, I didn't really care much about the gut. That wasn't my part of the body. I didn't care about stress. That just wasn't a part of it. And I had never asked the women, what kind of stress are you under? How well do you sleep? How many bowel movements do you have? That was not a part of my questionnaire. And when you're just seeing a patient for 15 minutes, you don't have time to ask all those questions. You focus on what you focus on, and that's the end of it. And that's the problem. If you go to a cardiologist, they're going to ask you, do you get short of breath when you walk up the steps? Do you get pain on exercise? They're not going to ask you about how many bowel movements you have. So that's the problem, is that we only focus and we're trying to fix the things that we knew how to fix. And nobody took into account the other issues that were involved. So now I ask a lot of questions so I can see what all is involved. And a lot of times when you ask all those questions, it really leads you to one or two issues. So somebody can have a lot of issues and it all points that, hey, that's all coming from the gut, because everything is connected. That's why we wrote a book called The Stress Connection. Stress affects the gut, and abnormal functioning gut causes stress. So that's how my practice has changed. I'm thinking more holistically, or how one dysfunction causes something else to dysfunction. So, that's the difference. And that makes it a lot more exciting. It makes it where I'm always learning and expanding my knowledge, where really for 15 years, I did the same thing over and over again. And I'll just be honest with you, that became very boring. And that's why you see a lot of doctors leaving practice, changing what they do, because it is a routine. And patients get tired of it. I see patients all the time say, I go to doctor and doctor, they run the same test. They keep telling me there's nothing wrong with me. And that's because, like I said, we're not looking at the larger picture.
It's amazing. My brother, who was head of internal medicine at Baylor Hospital in Dallas, big hospital group, he said the same thing. He got tired of doing the same thing every day, because also one day I said, what are you doing? It looks like you're studying. He said, I am. I want to go into hospital ministry. I said, you've got this great practice. And he said, it's every day. It's the same thing. And my hat's off to you, which you did. You took this incredible practice. You had to be a little nervous making the change.
Yeah. But, it's probably like your brothers, if you feel like it's something you have to do. You become stagnant in something. Steve, I bet you, have you done this all your life?
10 years. And yes.
Yeah, but you were doing something else before that. People mature and change, your interests change.
Right.
So, it was a lot frightening, but I knew I just couldn't spend the rest of my life doing what I was doing, and feeling like, I just felt like I was stuck. I didn't really enjoy it anymore. And especially after my wife started having these issues, and what I was doing to help her wasn't helping. I'm like, wow, am I really helping these patients by doing a pap smear and looking at their mammogram? Is it really enhancing their lives? Now, when you deliver a baby, yes, that makes a big impact on a patient and on their lives for the rest of their lives. But the other part of it, and now I realize I really didn't know anything about women's health when I was practicing gynecology, because what I do now has absolutely nothing to do with what I learned in my residency. So that's another eye opener to say, man, what in the heck was I doing? was I really helping anybody, or was I just going through the motions? And I felt like I was just going through the motions.
Dr. Taylor, we got a few minutes left. I want to know that, because we had talked about this, what does it mean to let the gut rest?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Either, what's very popular now is intermittent fasting, or just fasting in general. Almost every culture, religion, fasting is a part of their culture. The gut is working, 24/7, and especially in the US with the, processed foods that we eat with all the chemicals and dyes and everything in it. I mean, it's working like crazy to, get the nutrients out, get rid of the waste, repair itself, all of that. So it is important to let the gut rest. There's two parts of the nervous system. There's your fight or flight and your rest and digest. So you need to have a time where you're not eating, where you can rest and you can digest. And also letting the gut rest allows the body to really detoxify itself, to give it time to sort out what it needs to get rid of. How can it repair itself? Let the gut rest a little while. And intermittent fasting, people are doing it to lose weight, but it's also good for just overall gut health and overall health altogether. So yeah, the gut needs to have some time to rest, digest, clean up issues, get rid of old cells, all of that. So yeah, it's I'm not talking about necessarily going on a 30-day fast or whatever, but you need to have a time that the gut is working and the gut has time to process food and separate out things like it's supposed to.
We just got a question from a viewer wanting to know, are these cleanses any good for your system?
Well, it's according to what is in the cleanse. Yeah, that's another part of letting the gut rest, trying to because a lot of times if you have what we call a slow transit time, there should be a 24-hour transit time at the most, where from the time you put some food in your mouth, no more than 25 hours later, the waste material should be coming out the other end. So if you have slow transit time, if you are have quote unquote constipation, a cleanse is not all bad. That's a way of letting your gut rest. You're usually taking a cleanse that doesn't cause the gut to have to work very hard. It has some type of peristalsis stimulating component to it. So yeah, you don't want to do it too often. You really want the gut to function well. But if you're trying to get a fresh start, a cleanse is not a bad thing.
Well, for all the viewers, we've been running Dr. Taylor's website, which is the best way if you'd like to make an appointment with him. And we have been getting some letters outside the Atlanta area. It actually doesn't matter what part of the country you live in, because Dr. Taylor does do the telemedicine, and he mails out what we talked about in other shows, a kit that would help you to lose weight, and it tells him what's your different hormone levels. For those who are listening on radio, Dr. Taylor, give them your phone number.
My phone number is 678-443-4000. And my website is taylormedicalgroup.net. And also the supplement company, you can go to that website and take a look at those. It's taylormdformulations.com. taylormdformulations.com is the supplement website, and taylormedicalgroup.net is my practice website.
And I promise you the next show, because Dr. Taylor's with us twice a month, we'll be giving out the supplements, how to reach them also to order. Dr. Taylor, I love you, bro. You're the best. Right. And I can't wait to see you again next month, though we're going to be in some other markets. Thank you, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Okay. All right.
And have a good week.
All right. You too, Steve. All right. See you next time.
That was Dr. Eldred Taylor. Again, today's show is brought to you by attorney Todd Henningsen. He's our personal injury attorney. And we will be back with you next Wednesday at 10 o'clock with new experts. We've got some incredible experts coming up. Thank you, Juan. Another great show produced. And everybody have a good week, a great weekend. Stay blessed. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.